In this video, we're going to go through the process of reading a timeline. As I've said in many of the other videos, there is fundamentals that continue no matter what the reading style that you are doing. So grounding, setting your intention, opening up, all that the same. What we are trying to do here is to ascertain on a timeline what has happened in the past, what is currently happening. It is not a psychic reading where we're predicting the future. Whilst we can, we are looking at what's embedded on the timeline. So the things that have already happened on a timeline that are in the past, they're really locked in. Easy to find because of that. The things that are happening now are still locked in just as much as the past. The future things, they're not as secure within the timeline because there's possible routes for a particular outcome. So there's lots of different roads that are going to get you to a destination in the future space. So when we are doing a psychic reading, like a traditional psychic reading, we're not just looking at one outcome. Most psychics actually deliver fortune-telling readings, which is in most around the world illegal, just so you know. But fortune-telling readings are where it seems like the person has no free will. It's set in stone. This is what's going to happen. That's fortune telling. Psychic reading is looking at the energy, so all the energy, all the opportunities that are coming up, all the threads, and allowing the person to take all that additional information and being able to discern which route they want to take to their destination, to where they're going. Whether they're going the long way, the short way, if they're going side roads, this is what it is. So a modern psychic reading should look at more than one outcome. So at least two possible outcomes. They look at motivation, and then they go the who, what, when, why, how. So there's a lot in it when it's a proper psychic reading. But if you have a psychic reading, or you've even the ones that you do yourself, if you're only looking at one path, what is happening, you are actually disempowering your client in the reading because they think this is what's set in stone all you're doing is reading the actual path that they are on, the energy stream that they're in, not all the opportunities that are coming, and then how that would change their trajectory. We're not doing any of that. We are looking at a timeline. So we're going to focus on what's happening now and the past with the intention of finding things that need to be healed or that could be causing blocks. So we're looking at it from that vantage point, but reading a timeline could be used for anything. And even in the future space, determining what is happening. Now, what we want to do is we need to find how you work. Now, there are a couple of ways to be able to determine how you work. You can either be using your body as the pendulum, or you can be having a piece of paper and using the action of your pen exactly the way I'm going to walk you through the body process. So I'm going to walk you through the body process, but know that this transfers to the paper. The only thing that you've got to consider is that instead of like moving the body, because it's going to be easier for me to show you that process rather than a piece of paper, instead of doing that, you're moving the pen along what would be a line. But let me kind of show you a visual cue first before we walk through the process. Let me pull this up. Now you should see on the screen a graphic that says psychic reading timeline. Now when our body is straight, this is in the now space. Now we are going to imagine as we're walking through this process, a line either side of us. One side is going to be the past, one side is the future. Through practice, so trial and error, you are going to determine which side is your past and which side is your future. If you're doing it a piece of paper, you would simply put a dot on your piece of paper and you would draw a line like this, and you are going to determine which feels the past, which feels the future for you. You're going to do that. Now, for me, my past is this way, and I'm doing it as a direction because I know that the video flips things. So if I said left, it might not look left for you. So if I do, this is my past and this is my future. Through trial and error, I've been able to ascertain that. I know when my body is like this, and if I'm picking up information, it is something that is happening now. I know if I lean a little bit, and I'm trying to work out the timing of something that I'm leaning in the future. If I'm going this way, same deal, but leaning in the past. So that is what my body is doing. As I am going through this, once again, same thing if you're doing a piece of paper, what I'm looking for is clumps. It's almost like I'm bumping into something, right? Where I'm going along and I feel like I bump into something. That's what I'm doing. Now, when I'm bumping into something, if I'm bumping into it in the future, I need to work out when in the future it is. Is it within 12 months? Is it beyond? Is it within a 2 months? I need to work that out. If it is in the past, what can happen is that either as I'm leaning into the past, I may get an awareness of time, as in regards to 2 years in the past. That's right. I might have an awareness as I'm leaning. But the other thing that can happen, because it's so locked into the timeline, is that I will then jump, right? So instead of like leaning the whole way like I'm going to fall off my chair, I will lean into the past and I will jump to that spot on the timeline of when or age something happened. And as I'm doing that, I may see or hear, depending on your abilities, see or hear the age or time. So I might go, ooh, I might hear 7 years old and then see the event or the person at 7 years old. And as I go in there, I'm like, oh, I found my clump of energy because I'm leaning in and I feel like I bump into something. Then I'm like, how old? Uh, what's going on? I'm asking these questions for my other senses to kick in. So it's like, what have I bumped into? How old? Where are they? Who else is involved? What's going on? What's the emotions associated with it? These are the questions that I am exploring as I'm doing it, because as I am internally saying these, what happens is a vibration comes out of me, because every action, every thought, every intention is a vibration. That's a scientific proof. That's a true, right? We know it to be true. So as I'm doing this, that creates a vibration that comes out of me. Now, as I'm doing that, it is looking for something that it wants to bump into, because like attracts like. Once again, this is science. It's not woo-woo. Like attracts like. Think of it like magnets. So as I'm going here and I'm considering the age now, if it's not happening organically for me, I'm going to be going, were they a teenager? Depending on how old they are. Like I'm going to are they 7? Are they 15? Are they in their 20s? Like I'm looking for the energy, the details that are in this clump of energy that is the same as what I'm pondering, because my pondering is a frequency, and where it finds a match, it's going to hook like a magnet. So if I say 7 and they weren't 7 when something happened, it's like that vibration, that pondering just whoop off in the air, right? Never to bump into something. But if I go 15 and it feels like it locks in, like I can feel it in my tummy, locks in, or I might hear yes, or it just feels like a clunk, like it just feels like it hits something. Then I go, this happened when they were 15, right? Then I'm going to explore, what is it based on the emotions of what it feels like or the pictures that I am seeing there. So I'm reading this timeline by doing this, and then I'm unpacking using my normal psychic abilities to be able to determine what the event was, to identify all the information. Now, I'm working with a client, so they have lived this. They will be able to verify this because they lived it, right? Even if it's in the now process, I'm going to do the same thing. My body is straight, but I'm going, once again, I'm still going to ponder to push the energy into what's in the client's timeline. Then my psychic abilities is going to show me see, hear, feel, know, so I can get all the details of it. I need it verified, right? Clients lived it. They're going to know if I'm right or not. So I'm going to need that verified from them. Does this make sense? Give them all the information. Does it make sense? Then, because I actually want this to be useful, not just me, hey, look at me, I can read your timeline. Who cares, right? Really, who cares? It needs to be useful for the client. So in that process, then I'm going to be speaking with my guide, uh, or using my own inner wisdom, like my higher self, to go, how do we move someone through this? How is this blocking them? Is it holding them back? How is it holding them back? We need to understand that. Express that to the client. This is what I'm saying, blah, blah, blah. Whatever the guide tells you, how is it holding you back? Would it make sense that, X, Y, and Z means that you're not doing, L&M, right? That. Yes. Okay. So we know how it's holding them back. They've verified that. The client understands that. They are living that. So this is all stuff the client can verify because they're living it. Then it's like, ask your guide, because they're smarter than you, what's the thing that can help the client move through what is holding them back? You could work it out for sure. Maybe you're a coach. Who knows? Maybe you've had all this worldly wisdom. Fabulous. Does that mean that what you come up with is going to be the right thing to move the client forward? No. Your guide knows the exact thing that will be the thing that almost quantum jumps them into a different timeline to get a different experience in life, right? Because they're stuck in their current timeline now. So you're going to ask your guide, and they're going to say whatever the thing is, or show you, and you're going to express it to the client. This is the thing that's going to help heal, move you through the block, whatever it is, right? This is what my guide's giving you. This is what it looks like. This is how you apply it. You're going to give all that. It's not coming from you. It's coming from your guide. If it comes from you based on your experience, because you're a coach or you've had a lot of experience in life, it could be potentially wrong or not serve the client. So don't do that no matter what your skill set is. Ask your guide for the thing that is going to be the profound shift for the client, induce healing, or move them through their block. That. If you're moving into a future space, because you might be like, how does this change them? What does that happen? Once again, you're going to lean into your future space. But in reading this part of the timeline, the future part, you definitely could be asking your guide to give me is it how many months, weeks, what month of the year? You could definitely do that. And they might show you or tell you for sure. But if they don't, and if they do, great, do that, right? But if they don't and you need to work it out, you're going to lean into the timeline and you're going to imagine that this part here that is in your future part is broken up, right? Broken up into like a quarter. So 3 months. 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. You're going to do that. And as you're leaning, you're going, is it in the first quarter from now, if today's day 0? Is it in 6 months from now? Is it in 9 months from now? A year, or beyond a year, right? So beyond a year, I don't break it down into quarters. It's just beyond a year, and it goes, is it 1 year? Is it 2 years? Whatever. So in this, once again, I'm looking for where I bump into it. So if I'm in a quarter from now, like 3 months from now, and I don't feel like I bump into anything, then I'm going to move further into the 6-month space. Do I feel like I bump into something, or I'm going to move into the 9-month space until I find where I bump into this energy of what I'm seeking. Right, of what I'm seeking. So it could be where their life really shifts because the healing's there. It could be something else. Whatever I'm asking of my guide, whatever I'm looking for in the timeline, I'm leaning to feel it. Now, as I said, if we're using the pen, doing the same thing. We're just drawing along the piece of paper, and it's like, where do we feel like we stop in that space? Reading a timeline, you can read it obviously in a traditional psychic way, and you can really break it down specifically if in a psychic reading. If we're doing a traditional psychic reading, we can get it down to a day, like what particular day of what particular month in what particular year is something. But in this space where we're reading a timeline with the goal of healing and moving someone forward, we don't necessarily need that amount of specifics that we need in a psychic reading. So in this space, it's a little bit different on what we are seeking. So as you're going through this, know that you can use this in a traditional psychic reading for sure. You can also, but we can use it in a healing space where we want to induce healing, but we need to find the root cause. So if anyone does root cause therapy or similar, so the root cause, so when did the actual thing that everything else spiraled off that, did that happen? We might want to find individual things that need to be healed or blocks that need to be released that are on a timeline. And so you need to find when it happened on a timeline, you can definitely unpack the onion and work backwards like you do in a, coaching, psychology, counseling space. Takes ages. This is the magic. You go to the root cause when the initial event occurred and identify it, understand what was required that didn't occur at that point in time. So how did it become a trauma, maybe, based on how it was, emotions were not metabolized, environment, things like that. And then induce the healing in that part of the timeline. And then that allows for things that have occurred after that to be once again healed with more ease, or even let go. Some things that have happened as a result of a particular thing on a timeline, once that thing is healed, that event is healed on the timeline, it's as if they dissolve, or the impact of them is a lot less because we've got the foundation piece. Understanding the foundation piece is critical. Otherwise, you're going to spend years, someone will spend years unraveling a piece of string to get to the start. This way, we get to the start, heal there, and then build on from there. And that way, anything that's happened as a consequence or subsequence of the initial point in the healing timeline has less of an impact. It's far more profound to do it this way. So remember what I walked you through in the, like, is leaning your body, using your body as a pendulum you can use with a piece of paper. Now, for some people, and here's just a little extra bit of information, some people they won't, so this is a test and measure for you. Some people, it won't be one direction for past, future, and one direction for past. Past might be one way, and then future could actually be leaning forward, right? Rather than going left and right, it could be left and then forward. So just test that out to see which way that you work when reading a timeline, but know that the key points of this are that everything that has occurred is going to occur, it's available. All that information, it's available. It's proven, right, within the quantum science space. Go down the rabbit hole and discover it for yourself. That if it's in the timeline, it's locked in, so it's like a heavier energy, a block of energy. You can just feel it more. If they're actually locking it in the timeline now because they're going through it now, it'll feel the same. If it's in the future space, it'll feel lighter because there is different paths to get to a particular event or destination. So that will feel different to the past. So finding things in the now or the past, super easy compared to other things. And it's about finding it, finding age, finding what happened, finding who was involved, what did it look like, what were the outcomes, getting all that detail because it's all in the timeline for the objective of healing it, understanding it, removing the blocks. So applying that additional knowledge that will come from the guide, because as I said, you may think you know, and your whatever you would offer may be of assistance, but the fastest route to healing is asking the guide, because they know exactly, of all the things that you might know, which one is the one. I know, I'm a coach. I'm just in case you're wondering, I'm a neuroscience coach. I'm a positive psychology, certified in positive psychology, neuroscience coaching, neurodivergent coaching, life coaching, holistic counseling. So I know a lot in the psychology space. And what I do know is whilst there's a whole lot of things that can be used, rather than give them 47 things to try, ask your guide, of all these 47 things that I know, which is the one, which is the magic pill for this particular client, and save them a whole lot of time and effort. Enjoy the process. This is one of my favorite things to do, is to find moments in someone's timeline so they can heal them and then create a whole new trajectory for their future, because the thing in their timeline that was holding them back is no longer there. This is where you make a difference in someone's life.